Hello and welcome to So Good We Named It, the first Golden Girls and Golden Palace podcast, and the first, to my knowledge, Golden Girls or Golden Palace podcast with black hosts. I'm Barrett.
And I'm Kay.
And we have some very, very special guests here, straight from Goldencon, some of the winners of various contests. If you would like to go down the line and introduce yourselves and tell us what it is that you won, not as in a prize. I don't think there were prizes. Were there prizes other than the knitting stuff that I would like for Tyson to send me? But you can let us know what you were up there for. If you want to start at the left or right, I don't know. I'll let you all do it. Not everybody at once. One at a time, please. I can call out names. Hi. Okay, Emily. Thank you, Emily.
Okay. Hi, I'm Emily, and I won the costume contest for Best Rose.
Wow. It is a pleasure to have you here. Glenna, is that how you say your name?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm Glenna, and I won the costume contest for Best Sophia.
Wow. And Jordan.
Hi, I'm Jordan from Boca Raton, hometown of El Beatty, and I, along with two of my good friends, we won Best Additional Character as the Donatello triplets.
And you're speaking on their behalf, I assume.
I am. They're currently on a cruise, so they couldn't be here.
Damn. Next time.
Yes.
And we have Todd.
Yes, and I'm Todd. I'm in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and I was runner-up to... I was dressed as Steve, going out as Stevie.
Mm-mm.
And thank you. We have Tyson.
Hi, I am in Owensboro, Kentucky, a small town in western Kentucky, and I won the closing ceremony trivia finale.
Thank you. And we also have Karen. She's coming. She's having some technical difficulties, but Karen, I believe, was second place for the trivia? Second or third?
It was second.
Second? Okay.
Yes.
And some of you I met in person. I know of Karen's. Can someone consult with Karen with the technical difficulties on the side? Thank you. Tyson, I met you when I was harassing people in line.
Yes.
And handing out business cards and trying to, drum up some business. And
Yes.
I know I met Jordan because we took a picture together. And Tyson won some golden giveaway. I don't even remember what you answered, but you got a Betty White People magazine.
Yes, I had been following you guys on Twitter for a long time, and then I recently had discovered your Instagram as well. So you blessed me with the Betty White magazine, which I was very excited about.
Oh yeah, it wasn't even you. It wasn't an answering questions thing. I think I had said the first couple people that recognized us.
Yes, I recognized you from Twitter.
And we had a few little goodies. And then Todd, I met you. We took a picture together. And you were telling me, both of us, you were saying, oh, I love you guys' show. That was not Kay. That was a random person with me that I do not know. But but I also was going up to somebody thinking it was Tyson's wife because they had on the same shirt. And I was like, hey, where's your husband? I have the magazine. So, nobody knows what anybody looks like. So it's okay. But I just told her, I was like, go with it. It's fine. He thinks you're on my show. She's like, oh, okay, sure. But Emily, I don't think I met you. I just saw you on the stage. And then
Yeah, no, we didn't get a chance to meet.
I did meet...
As soon as the costume contest won, I had to run back upstairs and my dog with me. And they're not allowed to be left alone in the hotel.
Oh, you can have dogs there?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Don't tell my dog.
Yeah, I actually brought my dog back down after the contest because I saw I saw another dog, and he was most people's highlight that I saw. They had a good time with him, so.
Well, that's good to know. My dog's not very well behaved, so she's probably not going to ever make it to the Sheridan. And I can't see you. Where'd you go, Glenna? You I did meet because we took a picture. I was so enamored with this Sophia outfit that you had on. And a lot of you really transformed. Like, looking at you now, I don't even really see your characters. And that's That's the true sign of an artiste. And if you didn't know, you all have some haters out there.
Please don't.
I'm not gonna name them.
On the Golden Gaze Instagram, and it was the only time I'd ever felt somewhat famous because someone was not happy that I won, and I got a good kick out of it.
I wonder if it's the same person, but they commented on the post I made. I did delete the comment, and they were like, "I deserve to be interviewed." And I've been getting nonstop messages all day, like paragraphs, and then multiple voice clips of them demanding that they be on the show. And they said, if you can have those little winners, you can have me because I'm the biggest Golden Girls fan ever. And they just kept going on and on. And
you know who you're talking about.
It was a little scary. I'm like, do I need to contact Zach and put this person on a ban list? Because I'm feeling like
you need to have them on the show.
I'm scared. I'm like, is this going to be
need
like
a psychologist who enjoys a challenge?
I think so. Who's the macadamia? But I am glad to have you all, regardless of what anyone else thinks. And if they make it into Guinness, as they stated, for the biggest Golden Girls fan, it will indeed be my loss. So you were correct. But Karen looks like is still working on it. Okay, Karen, we'll be here. We're waiting. You'll get your own show, maybe. Maybe she's holding out for her own show. I think that's what it is. So I'm gonna go down the list yet again. Jordan, you were telling me that you had been on the cruise before, and then you sent me a picture of a previous costume with your friends. If you want to talk about that, and do you all always do group costumes? Is that your thing?
No, that was our first time doing anything costumey. We went on the very first inaugural Golden Girls cruise, and as any fan should know, there are only so many triplet costumes to choose from. So the first time we went as sluts, Phil's poker buddies.
Excellent.
Got a very good reaction from it. Unfortunately, we did not win the costume contest. Everyone said we were robbed. Yeah. In the end, it was a lip sync contest for a tie, and we did not win that one. But that night, we started planning for the next time. But as we know, COVID hit. We did not go on the cruise the second year. And so we picked the Donatello triplets over the Topple triplets. Thinking it was probably a little bit better of a costume. And we had a great time, and a lot of our friends that we made on the cruise were there on it was now 2 Saturdays ago, cheering us on, and we got some sweet vindication for that loss, and it felt great.
Well, I don't know who else you could be. If there's any other threesomes, maybe the Weston daughters. I know there's an extra one that popped up for a little bit. Yeah. That might be a little too niche for some folks. But I was certainly impressed. And with all of yours, because as I mentioned on the show, I had costumes. But I was like, oh, well, I don't want to wear that. I'm just going to go as myself. And then I, missed out on the fun. So I feel like next year, now that I know that it's going to be a bunch of people and not just a couple, that I feel like I need to be in the mix. So hopefully I'll be on the stage. I don't know if I'm allowed to win, if I'm a host or anything. But my hat's off to you all, especially Todd, who, if I'm not mistaken, you had on some heels.
I did.
at many points. Have your feet recovered?
They have, except the heels did not, because they were not built for a man. So they did. They kind of broke on me, and they went right in the garbage. So
well, you got your use out of it. You had multiple costumes, if I recall. If you want to go through those and tell us why you picked these specific people.
Yeah, so there are two that are really stand out to me. There's one that I wore the first day, and actually the irony in that is when we were cleaning out my family house when my parents downsized and I moved out, I somehow acquired my mom's wedding dress. She was ready to get rid of it, and I was like, oh, I want to keep it. And 2 years later, I was getting ready for the cruise. I was actually on the second sailing. Jordan was on the first one. But I also was on the part B, I guess, of the inaugural Golden Girls cruise. But it was the perfect dress for the dress that Blanche wore in the pilot when she goes off to see Harry with the fur. And I found a mink stole at one of the local thrift stores, so I put together an outfit there. So that one kind of has a special meaning because it actually was my mom's dress, and it's kind of odd asking my mom if it's okay to wear her dress, but she didn't have a problem.
Every mother's dream.
Yeah, right. Every mother's dream for her son to wear her wedding dress. And then the second dress that actually had a kind of a sentimental meaning was the black and white dress that I wore on Sunday. It was a hat tip to Blanche's dress that she wore when she went out with Ham Lushbaum, and it was the black and white dress, and that was actually my sister's prom dress from 1985.
Wow.
So,
I thought that was a custom dress because it was so similar to Blanche's, but I guess that was just the style. No woman ever looked better than she did then, and no woman ever will.
No woman ever will.
But that was definitely very eye-catching, to say the least. You were dedicated, because I saw you multiple times in multiple very specific looks.
And I had outfits I didn't even have time to wear. So, but that's been a thing to me because I love thrift stores. And then when I was preparing for the Golden Girls cruise, and then of course planning for Goldencon.
Hello, Karen.
Hi, Karen. You're special.
I'm stressed.
Welcome.
I am stressed. I have been trying for 20 minutes to connect.
Well,
my
welcome.
gosh.
Welcome.
Welcome.
I'm
There
glad
you
you could
are.
make it.
I made it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I
Karen.
finally made it after all.
Wrong show. Wrong show.
Well, Todd was just telling us some of the backstory for some of the outfits he wore, which I thought were just random or custom made, and they all had a little sentimental value. Was there another one besides those two?
Oh, yeah. So then the others that I wore actually tied into my hobby of going to thrift stores, and then I tied that into my love of the girls, and I was like, so every time I go to a thrift store, I do a quick lap around the women's section. I'm like, that looks like a Rose dress. That looks like a Sophia dress, and so that's how I've acquired my other outfits.
Well, we have that in common. I'm a bit of a hoarder with thrift store stuff. I forget that I even went, and I will find a whole bag.
Just a bit of a hoarder?
Just a bit. I mean, I don't let it get too out of control as I stare at a bag literally next to me full of clothes from the thrift store. But
Exactly.
My wardrobe is eBay and Goodwill.
I guess I should know eBay sells clothes. They sell everything else, but I just never really thought about it as if I need another place to go. But Karen, since you're now joining us, if you want to tell us
finally. I'm sorry.
what you won and, a little bit about yourself.
What I won, I'm sorry, my dogs are coming in here. They don't realize mommy's doing something important.
Is that dog love in your eye?
My story, I did share my story. Let me tell you, when I left there, it was like leaving summer camp. What a great time, and everybody was so nice, both the celebrities, the fans, the vendors, everybody. My story, why I like the Golden Girls so much, in 2003, my oldest son, Matthew, died in a car accident, and it changed my life forever. When they say it's every parent's worst nightmare, it is. And I found any activities daily difficult. Everything, breathing, sleeping, eating, everything was so hard. So at nighttime, I saw Lifetime was bringing back the Golden Girls. So the first night, I thought I'm gonna try to watch that. Now, even though I didn't enjoy things for a long, long time, it got me through that day. So I started using the Golden Girls as my daily benchmark. And believe it or not, it helped. It helped me tremendously. So I wrote to B. Arthur, Rue McClanahan, Estelle Getty and Betty White. B. Arthur wrote me back, which I was thrilled to begin with. And come to find out, her kids' names are Matt and Dan. My son's names are Matt, Dan, and Adam.
Aww.
And I just, from that time on, whenever the show is on, it's like being in a room of old friends. And it brings me comfort and joy and help me get along. Because this was 18 years ago, still to this day. Many of you know, and I'm going to do a quick plug for Matt's Coats for Kids, is the charity that I started in my son's memory. And we're on Facebook, so if anybody wants to like it, I would appreciate it. But it's been a journey, and the Golden Girls, that's why I wish we were all still there. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I'm having withdrawals personally.
I agree.
It's not long enough. We need, Goldencon to be like a week, maybe. I don't know. Is that too much? But
a support group. Hi there, Tyson.
Oh yeah, people keep popping up. Yeah, the whole gang's here, and I was there when Karen won, and I was gonna leave because I was pissed that I didn't get picked. But I was so plugged into Karen, like the whole room started rooting for Karen, and I feel bad because my friend was up there. I was like, sorry, I'm here. This is the Karen show now.
You know what? I'll be truthful. After 2 times trying to get on, Guyla and I were standing there, and she said, "We'll try. If we don't get on, we'll leave right away." So I would have been PO'd too, because I was. And then they called my name, and I was like, well, everybody knows how it was.
It was like The Price is Right. You ran up there and...
I tried out for that too, and I didn't make it.
Well, Drew Carey, I'm sure you listen to this podcast on the regular. Please invite Karen out there. But I stayed so I could meet you afterwards, and we chatted a bit. I said, well, I got to get Karen on the show. And, I was
Crazy Karen,
for
the
you.
oldster from New York.
and look at you now, all the way from the Big Potato. But I don't know if you're aware, Karen.
I love, I can say a line and you guys get it, or you can say one and we all get it.
We speak our own language.
You can 100% on that too, right? On that.
Yes, I think so.
Oh my gosh, where are you, Glenna? How did you get the background? I want it.
She's on Richmond Street recording live. Karen, did you know that Dinah Manoff posted your picture on her Instagram?
No, I didn't.
And your friend. So my picture's not on her Instagram, so I was like, I got to tell Karen. I'll send you a screenshot.
Oh, thank you. I'll tell you something. Dinah Manoff, I found out, also lost a child 3 years ago. And I didn't know that till I was at the convention and somebody told me. I said, I've got to see her. I've got to. And we hugged, and we didn't hug as celebrity and fan. We were two moms. And that was so special. So many memories we all have. I loved everybody in the finalist group. We shared stories when we were there. And it just was, this lady definitely appreciated it. And so did Guyla. And Guyla wasn't a Golden Girls fan before this. Now she is.
It's like a cult. You just get sucked in.
But what a healthy, positive cult we are.
I like to think so.
And we don't ask for money either.
No money. Of
course, money is always welcome. But...
It is. And anybody listening, I'm going to put a link for Matt's Coats for Kids in the description.
Thank you.
Donate. But no stoles. Nobody wears stoles anymore. Glenna. Glenna, are you with us?
I'm here.
Hi. So tell me, what made you pick that specific look? Not just Sophia, but you wanted to be that Sophia.
Well, I love that episode, and it's very quotable. So I figured if people... I'd like to do some... I love Sophia. There were a lot of great Sophias. But I like to do... I already have my planned for next year, so I don't want to give it away, but something different than what she usually would wear. It kind of stands out a little bit. So, and then I knew people would come up to me and say things like, you know, I think Tyson maybe was one of the people that was like, you hit the wall, you know, and could go from there. And it's just fun.
It was definitely
So,
a signature
and I'm
look.
4'11", so yeah, it's pretty much the only one that I can do.
He's cagey like a panther.
He just wants to be involved. Emily,
Yes, hi.
can you tell me what inspired you to want to, again, not just be Rose, but be dance contest Rose?
So that is probably my favorite costume from the entire show. I always loved it. And like, there's even like a side character who wears that dress again in a later episode. And I always said, like, if I could ever get that dress, like, bury me in it. And so I wasn't really planning on dressing up, but I was just on Etsy for like t-shirt ideas for the con. And the dress I wore came up as a sponsored post. And it was my size. And I knew I had to buy it. And then I just, found the wig and the necklace and everything else. Made sure to get the right number on my back. But it kind of just felt like fake because it was a sponsored post that popped up on Etsy. It shows you how much time I spent on the internet looking at Golden Girl stuff. So I was just super excited to have one that looked like it and can have it forever.
Did all the Roses and all the Sophias meet up at any point, or were you all doing your own thing?
The other dance Rose was like the first person I talked to walking in. And so she was super sweet, and she was with one of her good friends, and I got to know them pretty well. And I tried to talk to as many Roses and Sophias as I could because I'm also very short, so that was my original plan, was to do a Sophia. And yeah, I'm thinking about doing a Sophia next year too, so we'll see.
Will there be a
Glenna,
group?
did you meet lots of Sophias?
Yes, lots of Sophias.
Is there going to be like a group look from all of you all as the winners? Like, hey, well, we got to all bring it together. Is that out there? Is this an exclusive you like to break on So Good We Named It?
Oh, it's a good idea.
Well, I will take full credit for any awards that they win, and I would like one as well. Thank you, Zach and Associates. Tyson, can you tell me, how did you prepare for your win, or is this just stuff you already knew?
Most of it, well, all of it really, is stuff I already knew. This has been my favorite show for 21 years now. The summer of 2001, my best friend showed me the show on Lifetime. He said, hey, we were just hanging out, two bored middle schoolers in the summer of Kentucky where it's too hot to do anything outside except swim. And he said, there's this show and it comes on Lifetime and it's about these four old ladies and it's really funny and you should watch it. And I was like, sounds really weird, but I'll give it a try. And it was hilarious. Like, most of the jokes, especially about sex, I didn't really get, but the physical comedy between especially B. Arthur and Rue McClanahan, one of the first episodes I remember watching was A Little Romance, where Blanche walks out and says shrimp and then flies back into the kitchen. Childhood me just thought that was hilarious. And so it kind of grew from there. And I, without kind of giving you too much of my life story, I didn't have a very good childhood growing up. I had an abusive stepfather and just a bad kind of situation going on. Lost my mother when I was right after actually I found this show. And so my grandmother got custody of me when I was a teenager, and I started having a lot of anxiety, depression, mental health issues, and kind of rediscovered this show and found it as something that brought me a lot of comfort, a lot of just kind of peace, something that I could turn on and kind of turn my mind off a little bit. I could focus on what they were saying to each other rather than what was going through my head. My grandmother would actually tape you guys are all about my age or older, so you know what the word tape means. I said that too in front of a Gen Zer the other day, and they were like, what? But my grandmother would tape the episodes off Lifetime, and then when I would be having a really bad panic attack or couldn't sleep or anything like that, she would stay up with me, and we would watch those on the VCR. That was before the DVDs came out. And then, of course, when the DVDs came out, she would drive me to Walmart, and we would get them as soon as they were released, and then I would watch them over and over and over again. I still have them. A lot of them are pretty worn out by now, but and then me being me, I just did a lot of research on the show and all the actresses and learned a lot about all of them. So, yeah.
So this is a dream come true, basically.
Yes, yeah.
Validation.
On that stage was a big deal. It was a culmination of a long love of these girls.
Well, had I, been able to participate, neither of you would be here. I would have won everything. But, someone had to. So I'm glad it could be you and Karen.
Thank you.
I do want to ask, what is it like being a straight man that loves the Golden Girls? Now, that is a minority if I've ever heard one. A married straight man with kids that loves Golden Girls.
Yeah. Okay, so I met 2 other straight men at Goldencon, so there were 3 of us.
That many, huh?
I'm going to try and convince them to dress up as the, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, the triplets from St. Olaf.
Donatello triplets.
No, the ones
Copper.
that are overdressed for the hot weather. They come to tell Rose she's St. Olaf's Woman of the Year.
The Tofflecopper triplets.
Yes,
yeah.
I think
The Tofflecopper. Yes.
I think we should be them since there was 3 of us. But it's interesting. I have been made fun of for it by other straight men because it's not a common interest. But all through high school, I was made fun of and called gay anyway, just because I'm not a man's man. I never was really. I'm not into sports. Really, the only stereotypical manly interest I have is cars. I don't have a super deep voice. But I think that's part of why I'm such an ally to the LGBTQIA community is because I'm not a member of that community, but I've been harassed and been given just a touch of the hate that people in that community have been on the receiving end of. And I can't imagine being targeted for something that is out of your control when I was targeted and it's not even applicable to me. So that's one of the reasons why I'm such a fierce ally of that community. And, being at Goldencon was just so fun for both my wife and I because it was just everybody was so friendly. I was a little worried on the way there that I might be seen as a little bit of an outcast because, it is a little bit weird for me to be a straight guy and love this show about these 4 fabulous women. But no, I was welcomed with open arms, and that just proves what kind of people the fans of this show are. We all just love each other, and we love this show, and these ladies would be so proud of us. They really would.
I agree, and I appreciate you sharing that. And I, too, was made fun of. I actually am gay, but I still was made fun of for watching the Golden Girls. And I have a hoodie that a friend got me in high school, custom made, because there was no merchandise back then that has the Golden Girls on the front. It says, "Thank you for being a friend" on the back. It says Golden Girl up on the chest. I remember my mother was like, "Why would she get you that? Why would she get you something that says girl on it?" I'm like, because it's part of the show. But I still have it all these years later.
That's awesome.
I just feel like it is something that kind of, brings everyone together, which it sounds very cliche and all that, but it's true. Like, there were all types of people there. I'm curious, was this something when you met your wife or when you were dating before that you felt like you had to, like, break it to them? Like somebody saying, I've got kids, or I've been to prison. Like, when do you bring up the Golden Girls?
Okay, so very good question. My show is The Golden Girls. Her show is Friends. Our two children are actually named Chandler and Phoebe. So, so it was kind of a tit for tat situation. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. She was like, you know, I like to watch Friends, and I was like, I like to watch The Golden Girls, and she's like, I watched that some with my grandma. It was pretty funny. I'll watch it. And then before I knew it, she was just as obsessed as I am. And then she's like, well, I like to watch Friends. And I was like, I watched that some with my aunt. It was pretty good. And then before I knew it, I was just as into the Friends world as she is. We joked that if there was a Friends con, that we would be able to do a lot of the same kind of stuff, but the people wouldn't be as fun.
Probably not, actually.
Yeah.
There was a Friends experience in Chicago that had a bunch of stuff from the show and the sets, and I know they turned it into the Office experience. Now it's the Prince experience. I don't know when the Golden Girls experience is coming.
I saw something about the Prince experience, and I was really excited about that because I have always been a huge fan of Prince and his music, and it really irks me that Hulu cuts out the scene of Sophia singing Purple Rain, but I digress.
I didn't realize that.
Damn
it. We can't have
it's on the DVDs, but apparently Hulu couldn't get the rights.
Like, she can't even sing it herself. She literally just said Purple Rain, Purple Rain. Am I going to get sued
now? I'm sure his
now?
estate has a copyright on those words.
Okay, well, hopefully Paisley Park is not listening to this. I don't want to get sued because I said it too many times.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Damn it. I already was told today I was going to get sued if I played one of those audio clips.
Don't bring that up before they start commenting.
But I also don't have anything like specifically, traumatic that has happened to me that has made me, get comfort in the show. But just in general, as, Karen and Tyson said, I just find it comforting. I don't know why.
It is.
Like, it's other shows. I like a lot of shows, but it's not the same. It's not just, it's funny. It's like a hug from the TV. Mm-hmm. Or something. Like, every aspect. I like the music, in between the scenes. That's comforting. I like the colors. Just everything about it. I feel like, especially when I'm high, it's even better. I feel like I'm in the show. Then I freak out a bit, but I like to freak out. But
as the oldest one of all of us, I can say that you do feel like you're in a room of friends. Even now, when I put it on, I feel like they're here with me. And the comfort that it gives so many of us is so special. I'm sorry, Tyson, but Golden Girls is better than Friends. Don't tell your wife.
Yeah, it's my favorite. I like it better than Friends. I just see them as two different worlds. So I don't
can't even compare
them against each other.
they don't compare. They're so
it's just two different. Yeah, it's kind of like Dolly Parton's version of "I Will Always Love You" and Whitney Houston's. I don't compete them against each other. They're two different songs. It's totally different worlds.
And again with Friends, like, I've seen a pretty good amount of the episodes, but it doesn't give me a warm fuzzy feeling exactly. But for Emily, I'm gonna call you out. Can you tell us what made you start watching, and how old you were?
I started watching when I was in junior high. Once again, like everyone else, was on Lifetime.
Television for women.
Engagement.
And a friend of mine and I got really into it, and then we had like a competition of like who could buy the other like DVD season, like if we'd ever find one, because you could never find all 7 in the same store. And we lived in a small town. You'd have to drive an hour like any direction to get to like the mall or anything like that. So whenever we found one of the seasons, we'd always buy 2 and buy the other one. And it just stuck with me. It's always been, like you said, it's a comfort show. I feel like when you watch them at the cheese, eating cheesecake, it feels like, after you go to a party, you go somewhere with your friends and you're driving home, or you go, to a restaurant afterwards and you're like talking about the night. And like, that was always my favorite part of like hanging out with my friends or coming home and seeing my childhood friends. And it kind of just feels like that when you watch it. And I also am someone who, I'd say I'd have more of an obsessive personality. So when I get into something, I get into it.
Me too.
Two things, yes, exactly. Two things I've been in love with since I was 12 is Golden Girls and Michael Bublé, which I'm 26 now, but as a 14-year-old who loved Michael Bublé when like Rihanna and Katy Perry were all the rage, it's definitely a little bit different, but I've always been different, but I've always stuck my ground with the things I like, and it was so awesome to be able to be in a room full of people who love the same thing I do. I mean, I came solo, and I was a little nervous about it, but like you all said, it was awesome meeting everyone, and everyone was so friendly, and I didn't meet a single person who didn't have a smile on their face, and it was, I mean, I literally cried on Sunday when I came home because it was just like, so like, I was like speechless, you know, and I was sad that I wasn't there anymore because it's so nice to like be around people who really finally got it. You know, my boyfriend watches the show with me once in a while, but it's not his favorite thing. You know, and all my like friends and family members like have never understood why I loved it so much. So it was so great to be, you know, in a giant place like Navy Pier filled with other Golden Girls fans.
I was a little sad on Sunday too that I didn't have my car so I could take more stuff home. But I at least got the sign from the bar. With permission, of course. Not that it would have made a difference, but I felt like I'll at least ask. Kate, feel free to jump in, by the way. You know, don't feel like you have to wait on me if you did have a question.
Have they set the date for next year?
No.
Do you know?
As of now, they are still trying to figure out what they want to do. But anyone listening, go to thankyouforbeingafan.com and join the newsletter so you can get updates. And tell them you need Kay and I to be back next year or you refuse to come.
Yes, we need you all definitely.
Okay.
You guys did amazing as hosts. I really enjoyed your work.
And I appreciate that. And everybody that's been messaging us and commenting, we really appreciate it because, you know, this little old show of ours, we didn't think it was going to turn into this. I really thought that the most that I would do was win a trivia contest or something. I would have been happy with that. So, you know, that doesn't mean we don't want to do it next year. But I've never in a million years thought that I would be up there doing what I was doing. And it's still like I'm trying to wrap my head around it a little bit. Having COVID has kind of stuck me in time to where I still am processing it because as soon as I got home, I got sick. So I'm still riding that high from a week ago because I don't even know what day it is. But Kay, did you have any questions before, you know, I continue? I don't want to, you know, steamroll you as I did during our live interviews.
Yeah, you know what? It's fine. Go ahead. You're doing a phenomenal job.
I'm just trying to make sure you get your equal airtime, you know.
Okay.
So
You
you
sound
can,
shady, but we'll discuss
you
it
can get your
offline.
SAG card. But Jordan, I must comment. Too bad you all listening can't see it, but Jordan has quite a lovely background. I had something similar in my last apartment, recreating the Blanche Devereaux bedroom, which kind of ripped off some of the paint. But hey, I got my security deposit back, so who cares? But did you intend to have this Blanche homage, or did it just come about over time?
When did I do it? I did it a couple of months before the first cruise. I just needed something to do, and I came across this wallpaper, and as you can see up there, you can't on this podcast obviously see it. It's a large poster of the Golden Palace Hotel. What else? Then what else you could say? God, I won the T-shirt contest at the Goldencon as well. So that's some of the prizes.
Was this a wet T-shirt contest?
No, it should have been. That's only for spring break.
Oh.
No, just the T-shirt contest for the opening night kickoff thing at Sidetrack.
Know about a lot of that.
Oh, that was you at the.
That was me with the Pfeiffer. Yep.
Oh.
That was me. What else?
Love that.
The picture
That was
of the girl,
awesome.
that nightstand. Yeah, my little Golden Girls room.
I like the
Love it.
minimalism of it, unlike my shrine. I feel like I have to just be excessive. I can't just have a few things. But I didn't even know about the T-shirt contest. I didn't know about a lot of stuff. There was so much happening that when I see pictures and videos, and I'm like, when the hell did this happen? Where was I? Because there was just so much, and you literally could not do everything. Speaking of T-shirts, I'm going to plug Chris's shirt again. spelled for berry. I don't know the website link, but GG Posters, Golden Girls Posters, I believe. This is a horrible endorsement. I don't know where to find anything or what the names are. Let me try to look it up.
I can't
real
see
quick.
it very well. Get closer if you could.
Where's my camera? I can't even see myself. Oh.
Yes, thank you.
Svelte for berry. Let me make sure I have his. Okay, it's golden_girls_posters on Instagram. And he sells funny little shirts. And he makes a lot of really hilarious posters, kind of making fun of different movie titles and things. And do you have something there, Tyson, that's from him?
Yes. He had a recent one that I absolutely loved. I've been following him for a while as well. It was the Just Married with Dorothy and Stan.
I love that.
Oh my God.
He photoshopped Dorothy and Stan in on Ashton Kutcher, and I think that was Brittany Murphy.
Yes.
Yeah.
My favorite is the
amazing.
Scream for the Governess. I really love that one. Feel free to send me some free stuff, Chris, for all the advertisement. But hopefully, Chris will be there next year, as well as many others that couldn't make it, such as Enough Wicker. But I feel like we have to keep coming. We can't not, continue. And I feel like I have to go on the cruise now, especially with Jordan really talking it up. Stan Zimmerman was talking. Everyone was. Jim Colucci, his husband Frank. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, you got to do the cruise. You got to do the cruise." So can you tell us, as someone that was there, Jordan and Todd, is it similar to Goldencon, but at sea? Like, what would you say is a good description? Todd, Jordan, either one. Is it a secret or something we can't know?
I remember after this weekend, I remember thinking to myself, I had so much more fun at Goldencon than I did on the cruise. I mean, the cruise was a cruise. Like, it's fun. It was a vacation. But the Goldencon was like Golden Girls 24/7.
Yeah.
The cruise was like, okay, there's an event here, and like a little later there's something, and there might be a themed dinner outfit thing or whatever, but it wasn't. I'll say it this way, that it wasn't quite as intense.
Okay, because this was intense. Like, I felt like I needed a Broma seltzer every night. So it's not nonstop. Maybe this would be more our speed, because Kay and I kept having to go take naps.
Just traveling with a bunch of crazy Golden Girls fans.
Okay, so you
wake up in a different.
You get a
island every
little
day,
rest.
and it's great. But this was like Goldencon was like a weekend crash course in being a Golden Girls fan.
Gotcha.
Two different things. But
I think what I enjoyed most out of the cruise is because, of course, I dressed up then too, and it's not like some of the other bigger theme cruises where like, exclusively whatever that topic is, like a bear cruise or a gay cruise or whatever. Like, we were only maybe like a third of the passengers.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Especially when we were dressed up and like walking to dinner or like special events or whatever, and the rest of the people on the ship were like, "What is going on here?" And then kind of explaining to people or not, letting them wonder. So that was actually kind of fun.
I didn't know that. I thought it was like
when
a whole.
We were the first sailing, and there was a group of bikers on the trip, on the ship. We didn't know what to expect, but they were good sports about it, and it was a great time.
So the cruise is Goldencon light. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good way to say.
Good to know, because I definitely was like, I don't know if I can do this again so soon. But interesting. So let me pull that down here. Glenna, I don't believe I heard your Golden Girls origin story, if you'd like to share with us.
Well, I started day one in 1985. So
yes,
I'm old. So
I thought you were a little closer our age. I'm like, were you watching this in the womb? Okay.
No, I was I was 8 years old. So
I was in my 30s. So
okay. Well, My mother was a single mother, so she didn't really go out on the weekends. So Saturday nights we would watch TV, and Golden Girls was like the best, show. She loved it, and so I loved it because it was time with her. And just through the years, I always watched it. And then I would visit my grandmother, who lived in St. Louis, just outside of St. Louis, in the summers, and I got her to start watching it, and it became her favorite show, so that was like a bonding thing for us. So then when I moved away to college, I would call her. When it started coming on, that's when it would be on Lifetime, like 10 times a day, and I would call her, and like long distance, like 10-10-220 was back then. We'd get the
I remember
discount,
that.
like, and rack up the phone bill, and we'd watch it together and just laugh, and it was just like.
I can't get through New Jersey on MCI.
I love sheer.
See, that's it right there. That's like this is everything. Like my people. Like you get it. So then, just through the years, I've watched every night before I go to bed. It's on. It puts me to sleep every night. My fiance has like grown to love it too, because he has to.
No choice.
Has no choice, right? So it's been a constant in my life. It's always. I went through a very bad divorce. They were my comfort. My son was in the hospital. My son's name is Barrett, actually, so it's like our host. But
which is a very, very rare name for those of you listening that don't know. So.
I never met another Barrett. So he was in the hospital in 2016 for about 5 months in Boston Children's Hospital, and very sick. And every day and night we'd watch Golden Girls. So we bonded over that, and he's a fan too. So it's just always, they've just always been, they really are your friends, like your comfort, the constant. They're always there. Even though what's going to happen, the next line, the joke, the character, the side characters. It's always entertaining, so.
It never gets old,
It never gets old.
It doesn't.
Right.
I watched, I think it was the pilot, like, yesterday or the day before, and I've definitely seen that a million times. I was like, I just felt like watching the pilot, and it was still funny. And speaking of, your son's name being Barrett, it's weird seeing you talk about him, because I'm like, what is she talking about? What did I do? What did I say? Because you're putting Barrett. And thank you for...
Yeah, it's like the most exciting weekend besides... The most exciting thing that happened to me was, like, winning that Sophia Award, besides Barrett's birth. And Barrett, you commented, my birth?
And thank you for congratulating me on my run for Congress, which is a lie, but I appreciate the fact that you supported it. It was just a ruse to get people to click the link from my website for the podcast. I forget that with this being a newer page that people don't know me and that I'm full of shit a lot of the time. I was like, yeah, this probably looks real for someone who doesn't know me, but I could run. It's a possibility. I don't have any time or money for that, but put me as a write-in. You live in Illinois, Emily, and if Kay, you vote for me, who knows? I would do it, and I think I'd be okay. It just sounds like a lot of work.
I mean, Maude ran for political office.
Right, if Maude can do it.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's the spirit.
And again, I was high, so there's that. But I think my little poster was cute.
It was.
Todd, what got you into the Golden Girls, and how long? I assume you may be a wee bit older than I. How long have you been watching?
Probably got into it hard, kind of more hardcore. Probably in the early 2000s. It was sort of I didn't watch it when I was younger, but it was sort of kind of helping me get into adulthood, sort of that awkward-ish transition from your 20s to your 30s of crap, now I'm responsible and have to do stuff, and I'm my own person now. And that was, again, back to like when it was on Lifetime and before bed. And it was like my favorite 3 hours of the day because it was, and I forget which order they were on, but it was Golden Girls, The Nanny, and Designing Women.
I remember that lineup. Good times.
Yeah. And that was like my favorite part of the day, even though it was like right before bedtime. And then I kept watching them on Lifetime when they were on, and then Hallmark picked them up. And I just started watching them more, and just, you know, and then I'm always kind of socially minded to begin with. And when you watch things over and over again, like the girls, you know, like it becomes familiar. But I think that, you know, like you always, you know, no matter how many times you watch an episode or a season or the whole series, you know, I think every time you watch it, you kind of pick up on something you didn't notice before. And I just loved how, I can't think of any other series, TV show series that addressed so many different things, whether it was, you know, prescription drug addiction or AIDS or having a gay sibling or, you know, unemployment or homelessness or any of the issues, you know, any of the issues that they were brave enough to tackle on this show, even if it was like one, you know, like a one-off like subplot of like a major plot on an episode, you know, and just really grabbing onto that and just really thinking, yeah, like, why aren't we talking about this more? And it just felt like they were just so relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't even watch them on TV when they're on like the, you know, on cable or whatever. I just turn on Hulu and then have it on the background and just, it's like a constant loop.
And at least that way you don't have 15 minutes of it edited out.
Right.
But it's weird for me to even see it on other networks. Like, I don't know why. It's like, if it's not on Lifetime, then what's going on? Like, it has to be on Lifetime. That's the only place it can be. And now it's on like Wii and Hallmark, TV Land. And
you don't have to worry about like who, you know, Hallmark taking them off during like the Christmas.
Right. I always see people bitching about
Hulu
that.
is always there.
I'm like, just get Hulu just for Golden Girls at least. For Karen and Emily, who were watching it in its first run, as where the rest of us were very tardy to the party, do you feel any different watching it in its prime, like watching it while they were all alive and active and not, you know, down the line? Did you feel like you got a better, more pure Golden Girls experience?
That was Glenna, not me, unfortunately.
Sorry,
not
that was Glenna.
After the show ended.
You're only 26, so you couldn't have watched it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead first. It's fine.
I remember the first night it was on, September 14th, 1985, and they were advertising it, and just knowing the premise and knowing who was in it, you knew it was going to be a hit. And I watched it when it went off the air, everybody was sad. I mean, I was sad. It was like, oh my God, it's going off there. And whoever would have thought it affected all of our lives so much, a TV show. And I love it now. I'll always love it. It'll always mean so much to me and so much to all of us. And just talking with all you guys, I mean, we all find so much that enhances our lives. And like you said, Glenna, with your son, my son watched it with me. They watched the reruns with me, and we all loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I even had a Golden Girls birthday party. Oh, I've got to send you all the game that I made. What's in Sophia's purse?
Yeah, I would.
I made
that.
up this game, and because you guys have all watched all the episodes, you'd probably be pretty good at it. It's the things that were mentioned in all the episodes the things that you saw Sophia take out of her purse, what she talked about was in it. I'm going to say, I'll put it either on, I'll send a private link through Facebook so you guys can play it too.
Some chip beef in a place
Chip
setting.
beef,
In a
right?
place setting.
Chip beef.
I actually brought a place setting in my purse. Not the knife, though. Not the knife.
Well, if anyone listening would like to purchase Karen's game, I don't know, maybe we'll get it in production. Let us know if there's any interest.
I would just send it to you guys because you guys we are all one people. We all appreciate this show. And favorite episodes. What are everybody's favorite episode? I know it's hard to choose.
My favorite episode is A Little Romance, just because I think it's so funny, and it's just, you know, how you assume that it would be Rose making, you know, just because of stereotypes or whatever, she would be calling the shots, but he actually, Jonathan was the, you know, when he's like, you're not Jewish, so, you know, it's like, that was just awesome to me, like, and she's like put in her place as she should have been, for assuming that everyone was looking at him, you know. That one, and then the Clayton episode hits home because I have a gay brother, and my closest person in the world to me is a gay man, my very best friend since childhood, and so I love that they were like so progressive with issues like that. Like, you don't see that on TV, and just to be able to relate to things, you know.
Yeah.
So those are my two.
Even today, you don't see a lot of little people on TV unless it's like an elf or a leprechaun, something stereotypical. And he was just playing a regular person because little people are regular people, just
Regular
like everyone else.
people, right.
And this was 1985. So again, very progressive. And, you know, as far as the Clayton thing, for sure. Because even when I, you know, was talking to my mother about me wanting to get married, and she's like, well, why do you need to get married? I'm like, well, everybody deserves someone to grow old with, and shouldn't everybody get that chance? You know, quoting the show directly. I think I might have sent her the video or whatever. So I feel like, you know, I agree. It's useful in everyday life and comforting. Anyone else have a favorite they want to speak on?
Well, even the one where, the one with Jean, you know, talking about the lesbian relationship, and not even, you know, besides the fact that the whole Lebanese lesbian thing, but, you know, back to like the whole progressive thing, like, you know, thinking of Jean and Pat, you know, that they were in a committed relationship for a long time, and that they acknowledged that people at that time, you know, gay, lesbian couples were a thing. And we love people too. It's not just about bending over backwards for somebody.
That is very true. And, you know, like we discussed in Golden Table Talk, there were a lot of problematic moments and characters and things like that, but they also had the opposite, like with Jean, like with Douglas. They show that, one, again, normal people, and two, there are long-term committed relationships, which yet again, I don't think is something you saw a lot of, and I believe that Susan Harris was pretty, you know, adamant in her programs about showing these types of things. And for the few of you that liked Golden Palace, I feel like they did a whole lot more of that, but not in a super preachy way, but kind of just making the characters evolve, like Blanche acknowledging that her family was probably racist and that she probably had racist ideals as well. I mean, George didn't want her sharing a room with the black woman when she gave birth to Becky, yet he has a whole child on the side.
Right.
But, you know, I definitely, you know, agree with you with that. Anyone else have some favorites they want to throw out there?
Since you evoked the Golden Palace, I'm not sure if you saw my boys walking behind me in the background, but my favorite Golden Palace episode is the one where there's a guy who's who brings the Greyhound to the hotel, and then Rose is advocating for making sure that the Greyhound gets adopted, and so that that episode is really special to me because I have a greyhound at home too. So,
and I didn't know that they kill them if they don't win the races. Educational and entertaining.
They were.
Well, so that back at that time when that episode was filmed, that was sort of like what they did, unfortunately. And then all these adoption groups emerged, and they really kind of the racing industry really cleaned up its act, because now all of a sudden all the animal rights people were watching and paying attention to this. So over the years, it has evolved to be much more happier endings for the hounds after their careers. But
they were watching Golden Palace, and they said, "We got to do something about this."
Maybe we could thank Golden Palace for that.
Thank you, Betty. Jordan, did you have a favorite? I'm sure you do.
One of my favorites that I think is a very common favorite is Libertine Belle. And I also do Love Me Tender with Eddie the Love Machine.
Yes, a.k.a. Piglet from Winnie the Pooh.
Just the opening scene of it has so many good lines in it. It's so underrated, but I love that episode. I
just picture Piglet the entire time. Like, I can't get it out of my head, which makes it more enjoyable, personally. I know for a fact that Tyson has a favorite.
I am a huge season 3 fan.
Really?
Love season 3. Two from that are my favorite are Strange Bedfellows with Bill Kessler. So I was really excited for that photo op at Goldencon. And My Brother, My Father, where Stan and Dorothy have to pretend to be married again. And Blanche collects lingerie for the needy sexy. That was another one that I watched back in the early 2000s as a middle schooler, and that line, we giggled quite a bit as middle school boys at that line.
I think that's probably part of why I can watch it so much, is because I probably didn't know what the hell they were talking about most of the time for the first few years of watching it.
Right.
So it's like I'm watching it all over, especially with Matt Browning's definitive cultural reference guide, available now at bookstores everywhere and on Amazon.com. Again, not a paid endorsement.
Yes.
But yeah, season 3 does have a lot of good ones. I believe that's when Daisy pops up. And of course, Alvin and Blanche has her mullet. Dough. Yeah, grab that dough. So I feel
Blanche's hair is something else in that season.
Like a rocketeer, some might say. But a lot of course, there's various great episodes, but I feel like every season there's a bunch where you're like, these are the top episodes of this season. There's never a dull season.
Was season 3 when Rose slept with Al Beatty and he died in her bed?
Well, that was season
3.
One.
That was season 1. See,
In a Bed of Roses.
I remember all the. Okay, yeah, all the episodes.
This is why you won. You know the names.
Had all these.
That's why he won.
What did I miss?
He knows the names of the episodes.
That's why he won all the.
I know.
I'm not that good.
The name. I'm not on Prevagen yet, but I probably should be. But I'll tell you the one Ebb Tide Revenge and Ebb Tide's Revenge. That was written by Mark Sotkin, I think. I found out at the convention. And now when I watched it at the end, and Sophia said, that was so well written, with Brenda Vaccaro and Phil wearing a teddy in the casket and Dorothy's heartfelt eulogy. But at the end, when Sophia says, my baby is gone. That... I mean, especially me. I mean, I know, and Glenna, you have kids, and I don't know, Tyson, you have kids. I mean, that just hits a chord that when I hear that one. That was so well written. And also, I love, what's the other episode? Well, Jonathan Newman. I mean, every line Dorothy delivers and Room delivered in that one, absolutely wonderful. But Mrs. Claxton, when Rose told her to drop dead and she did, I love that episode
That was
too.
also a classic. And with the Eptide, for those of you that missed it, we interviewed him at Goldencon, Kay and I, and he said that Eptide doesn't really mean anything. He just kept throwing it in there because for years I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Why do they keep using that? And he's like, it doesn't mean anything. So thank you for screwing with our minds, Mark Socken. But I didn't really think about it until I listened to enough Wicker, kind of going off what you said about, different losses and, trauma and things like that with the girls. But when my father passed, I wouldn't watch the episode with Blanche when Big Daddy died. And it wasn't a conscious, like, I refuse to watch this. It was just like, I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to, because it was a similar theme. And I feel like, this isn't a psychological analysis podcast, but I think the more that I talk to other people that like the show and more that I listen to other podcasts, I really realize it is a little deeper than just, I like this show, because for years that's all it really was, so I thought. So if anybody wants to start a podcast about the psychology of the Golden Girls, or if you're a psychologist and you want to come on this show and talk about it, it really is, as you all see, having these effects. I don't know if there's anybody that was at Goldencon that strictly was just like, it's just a funny show, and that's it. I really think it is more than that for many people. Before we wrap up, because this is going to be a 3-hour episode because we're having too much of a good time, anybody else want to throw in their favorites and any other little tidbits? No?
I mean, the other thing that...
Go ahead.
The other thing that... the other episode that I really, for whatever reason, sticks out in my head and I always enjoy watching is the one where Sophia goes off and buys a nectarine. Because the other three kind of just lounge around and kind of waste their whole day, wondering what to do or whatever, or line their kitchen cabinets and eat everything. But meanwhile, Sophia, who's the oldest, and you think that's all she's doing, but she makes a whole day adventure of like a very productive, day out of doing like things not just for herself but for others. And the way she talks to the kid at the end, I forget the boy's name. Was it Jimmy, Timmy?
I think Jimmy or
Billy.
I think
Billy, Billy, Bobby. And, but yeah, she makes it. And when it wasn't Lillian in that episode, but she comes out asking if any flowers were for her, and in the hospital. She played Lillian in another episode. I don't remember what her character name was in there. But like I said, and then she leads the band on the boardwalk, the same day. Just how she just makes a full life. And I think we talked a little bit about that at Goldencon, where, the whole thing about, older women kind of being forgotten or erased or not relevant. Silent or invisible that a lot of people were using.
I think that much is a good example of that, for sure. I mean, it's not one of my favorite just because I put it more with the more sappy special message episodes, which I'm like, no, I want to laugh. And I was mad that they didn't rearrange the furniture. I was excited to see what it was going to look like. But it is a good example of that. And I think Sophia being such a rough around the edges person, it was nice to see those softer sides that she doesn't want everybody else to see, but we the audience get to see, because I can relate to that. I like to, I've tried to tone it down for Golden Girls and everything to seem more nice, but I can be a bit of a pill. But I like to do things privately, like, I'm handing out stuff to the homeless or whatever, but everyone else can't see that. So I relate, Sophia. You got to keep your image up. And I think that it definitely does show that, old people still do stuff, because back then 50 was old, but now we have Grace and Frankie. They're in their 80s and they're doing, crazy shit, which makes me not be so, worried about the future, because eventually it'll probably be a sitcom with people in their, early 100s or whatever. So that kind of kick-started it, I think. to bring, you know, Hot in Cleveland and Grace and Frankie and other things to show that grandma doesn't just go to the nursing home or whatever, you know, she has a whole life. Luckily, you know, my grandparents were still pretty active and doing what they wanted to do. But a lot of people don't, either they don't see it or they don't have it, and they may not know. Many people, like we talked about also at Golden Table Talk, they only see what they see on TV. So if every grandma you see on TV is, you know, eating Jell-O in a wheelchair or whatever, you might think that's how it is. And thanks to the Golden Girls, now everyone knows that that's not the case. And on that note, I guess I will end this lovely Winner's Circle edition of So Good We Named It. Shout out to Karen and Todd and Emily and Jordan and Tyson and Glenna for gracing us with your...
I always say...
Damn, Kate. Like, now you want to say something and steal my catchphrase that everyone knows I always say?
The entire time because you like to steamroll, but that's okay. That's why we're here. It's part of the dynamic of it.
What? Wow. In front of
and
company?
And I always say, I just want to thank everyone, as Barrett said, for this special Winner's Circle edition of So Good We Named It.
We love it. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And we would like to thank you all for being a friend.
For more information on our podcast, head over to www.sogoodwenamedit.com and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at So Good We Named It. And check out our Facebook page, So Good We Named It, Golden Girls Golden Palace Podcast, and our Facebook group with the same name. And to find out about the next Goldencon, go to thankyouforbeingafan.com and join the mailing list. And as always, thank you for listeing and thank you for being a friend.
This took me 15 minutes to sign in. I think I was getting so upset. I'm sitting here at home. I even fixed my makeup for this, and I couldn't get on, and I know Glenna was trying to help me and Tyson, but I just am so glad I know you all. And I want to say, I work with the elderly now. I worked in a nursing home and entertained for 6 years. The older people are jewels that are out there. We need to honor them, remember them. And they're hysterical. Some of them are so funny. And sometime I'll share with you some of my nursing home stories. But we need to remember that they still have so much to give. Even if they have memory issues or physical issues. I love working with the seniors. I love it.
You heard her
thank
first,
you,
folks.
everybody.
It's So Good We Named It. And take care, and thanks for listening. And thank you for being a friend.